was created for this. Yeah, I've been waiting on this. I taking my shot, I won't miss. Taking my shot, it's gon' swish. I know this is God's plan, I won't quit. This is His plan, I won't quit. I was created for this. Yeah, I've been waiting on this. Second guessing is over. I'm getting closer. Every door that was shut, heaven is open. Closed captions on every word spoken. Watching my words cause I'm chosen. And I cannot fail to commit. This is my time and I know it. I gotta show shine brightest in the moonlight. Shine brightest in the nighttime. Been waiting on my time. I was created for this, yeah.
Peace, family. How you all doing? I hope all is well with you. My name is Keisha. I'm the owner of Ascendant Astrology, and I am your astrology coach. Today, I'm going to be discussing the super full moon in Aquarius happening on the 19th or the 18th. It really depends on your time zone. Um, the sun actually this full moon is connected to the all 12 signs. There'll be a mutable T square, um, a fixed T square, and a cardinal T square, which I think forms the hexagon, which is the Star of David. This is also related to Ophiuchus. And I did do a video on this on my other IG page, my A Way of Life IG page, going in more detail about Ophiuchus from an esoteric perspective. It's not the 13th sign, it's you, but embodying all of the signs. So being whole, evolving, becoming your higher self, essentially is really what we're talking about here. I think this is the first time, at least since I've been doing astrology, that one particular full moon has covered every single sign. And how amazing is that, knowing that it's in Aquarius, which rules the people. So it like makes so much sense. And so mutable T squares are about being flexible, open-minded, being able to pivot on a whim. Um, Communication is everything. This is being in tune with yourself, um, making intuitive decisions, um, seeing things from a higher perspective, and being analytical and assessing and making decisions. Um, and then you have the fixed T square, which can be a little bit more challenging because it doesn't, fixed energy doesn't like to change. And so wherever these places, these signs are, which is Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, Aquarius in your chart, can represent an area where there's some kind of struggle where you'll have to be mutable to get out of your head, or to get out of your own way. Um, but it can also be being creative. Um, this could be like the alchemist energy, knowing how to turn pressure into something. So we're talking about like the magician energy here, um, taking your pain and turning it into some kind of creative process. Like Leo, I keep talking about this creatrix energy. This is definitely about, you know, um, the caterpillar turning into a butterfly. So we're talking about the butterfly effect from chaos, something that's hard, painful, stressful. I'm getting like a shake, like when you're watching a movie and it shows like everything shaking, that's the butterfly effect where something's happening, but you're staying grounded or um, it becomes an experience that you have that's changed the way you do something or think about something. Um, this could also be pregnancy, right? It's painful, or the flower pushing through the concrete rose, right? This idea. Um, and then you get a beautiful flower from that. Um, um, this could also be like being revolutionary, standing out from the crowd, shining a light on the truth as opposed to false information, misinformation, lies, secrets, deceit, and somebody going against the grain to speak about the truth. And then you have the cardinal T square, which is about moving, taking action, regardless of the fixed energy, um, not being complacent and making a choice or a decision to go through with something regardless of the things that are going on around you. Um, being brave and taking initiative, being a leader, being a coach. This could also be seeing a coach, getting help, seeking knowledge and information, collaborating with others, your resources, um, and things of that nature, right? I think that's really, really cool. And then this is a super full moon. And so super moons are just stronger because they're a lot closer to the earth. And then full moons are a culmination. So you want to go back to February, when we had the new moon in Aquarius. It was either the end of January, beginning of February, either way, in between those two times. What was happening for you? What have you done since then? What are you kind of revising, seeing differently, letting go of? Um, you've learned something, you don't need it anymore type of energy here. It's kind of like the process of elimination, or you're taking something and reusing it, but in a different way, a more creative, innovative way with Aquarius. Um, or you're just going back to something because it's necessary. You're seeing something different. You tried other options, nothing worked, but you were just trying something new. You was taking a chance. And maybe perhaps you're realizing that it didn't work. This could also be that your pride got hurt in some way, shape, or form, and it didn't feel good. It wasn't a good feeling. And maybe perhaps at that time you didn't say anything, but you will now. So speaking up for sure is going to be a pretty big deal, especially with Mercury. And is Mercury going to be in, I think, yeah, Mercury will be in Leo this time. Um, And so this could just be that you're very prideful of where you come from, what you have accomplished, the small things that you have. Um, I definitely do think that this is a time of taking your generational curses and changing, seeing where you've changed that generational ideology in some way and turning it into a passion, whatever that means for you. Like I often use the example of my story of becoming a coach after having gone through to prison, right? And I took that whole experience and was able to turn it into coaching, sharing and giving back through that story. So what's your brand here? We're talking about your mission and purpose in life, finding whatever that is and giving it back to the people to make it better in some way. Um, or to your children or to your lineage, your bloodline. This could even be like taking on a role of a passed on loved one or ancestor or spirit guide that you feel like has been given to you to take and carry on the torch and passing that down, wrapping it up in your brand, how you've seen it, how you envisioned it, how it's helped you. And, if you build it, they will come type of energy where whomever relates to that, they will gain something from it. And so I'm seeing two visions here, um, of finding your soul tribe and that picture that's going around with the grandmother, granddaughter, daughter, mother, sister, that lineage of healing. As you heal, you heal your lineage, the people who came before you. So this is like massive, massive spiritual, generational healing from things from the past, not just the immediate past and not even your children's past, but generations. Because, I mean, depending on which astrologer you're listening to, Aquarius is you ruled by Uranus. This full moon will square Uranus. And so what we're talking about here is generational planets, right? Neptune's a generational planet. Um, and Pluto is a generational planet, right? So that's where I'm pulling from this idea of generational healing. The moon is your family, your bloodline, your lineage, where you come from. So you can be visiting these places where you've come from or learning more about your lineage or there could be a lot of storytelling going on about your past and where you come from and who did what and figuring out something that kind of shocks you or awakens your soul like, oh my God, I've always been into that. I never knew that we had family who did that type of thing. I'm going to take this torch and carry it out type of energy. And again, it could be spiritual, your spirit guides, your spirit family, your spiritual soul tribe that you're getting sign symbol synchronicities from sleep dream sign symbols, numbers, deja vu, daydreaming, that, something outside of yourself that can't be touched, felt, um, is trying to get your attention to something that somebody has a message from the other side that they're trying to get to you. And whether that be a mission or a purpose or turn into a mission or purpose, it's not going to be that way for everybody. Nonetheless, it could just be a message, right? This is very psychic energy where somebody wants you to give a message to somebody else, but maybe you're the only one in the position to listen. You're able to hear, and they want you to get a message to somebody else that they know that you're in frequent contact with. Right. And so it's just a matter of not being afraid, again, to speak up and say what's on your mind, especially if it's a gut feeling or it keeps coming up or keeps showing up in some ominous type of way that's like, okay, I gotta say this or I gotta do something with this energy because it keeps coming up. It might not be able to be fought. It could be very daunting, that kind of spookism energy. But I don't see this being anything negative. I mean, let's keep it all the way a buck 100 and we'll get into the negative stuff in a minute here. But I do feel like for the most part, as chaotic, frustrating and stressful as this energy is most definitely going to be, it's really trying to get your attention to change. I'm also feeling like this is energy of like the pandemic where one day people were out and about and we were doing what was regular, and then the next day we absolutely were doing something completely different. So this super full moon, like that day, I feel like the day after, it can be like things will never be the same again type of energy, right? This is forcing us. This is ultimately about change, evolution, to be quite specific, right? It's awakening us to our higher self and helping us get in tuned with who we are, which goes back to that idea of breaking through something painful or stressful. So this could most definitely be coming up as something painful, stressful, something that deters you, a detour, some kind of chaos, that forces you to change the way you've been doing something. Uranus helps break patterns and habits. So this could be waking up one day and going cold turkey as an addict. Somebody having mental health to one day, like it's gone. Like you'd never know that this person had mental health issues. And these can go vice versa, family too. So keep that in mind. Um, this could be somebody who had an illness, a threatening illness, and then waking up and it's gone all of a sudden. This could be going from being celibate to sexually active. This can be not having creative ideas or feelings or exasperations to share or indulge in to having them. This could be from going to being an everyday person to an actor, just being in the right place at the right time. This could be um, your children having children or you having children or another child's. Um, this could be from having a house full of family to becoming an empty nester. This could be, I mean, it's shocking things that happen like like you know out of all of a sudden out of the blue where it might not have necessarily been planned, but because something happens now, this is what's happening type of stuff. Um, and so yeah, um, the sun in Leo is very bold, courageous. Oh, before I continue with that, um, super full moons are closer to the earth, so they're a lot stronger. And anytime we have a full moon, it's an opposition. So this is relational. Oppositions are relational. And so this is when the sun is opposite the moon. And so the sun is in Leo. Leo is very bold, courageous. It takes risks. It's prideful. Again, this is about fun, play, joy, going out, having fun, restaurants, events, you know, traveling, whatever people do for fun, right? Um, this could be gambling, winning the lottery, things of that nature. Um, this could be children, having children, your sex life, um, creative energies or creative projects. This could be um, sports, anything to do with sports, sports bars, sports, actual sports, going to a sports game, playing sports, taking your children to do sports or signing them up for sports. Um, um, and the market, the stock market, especially meme stocks, with Leo. Okay, and so um, this might be somebody who doesn't, again, take something very well. Whatever somebody's saying to you or said to you, um, again, you might not have said something in the past, especially around January, February, that you didn't say anything about then, but now you're gonna speak up about it. On the other hand, Leo energy can be extremely generous when they care about you. And so there could be a lot of expressions of love, marriages out of the blue, shotgun weddings, married because you're pregnant, or, just out of the blue, somebody's proposing, or they, for the first time, they say that they love you. the beginning of something blossoming prosperously, happily. This is something this is something that is going to make your heart shine, skip a beat, big, overwhelmed, joyful. Um, Somebody could have a baby. If you are already pregnant, you could go into labor. Um, so this could be a creative project. Either you getting the idea, you're starting it, or promoting it, or getting more recognition, acknowledgement for it, fame. This is definitely going to have a lot to do with like people. How do you say? Um, Famous people. I don't know why. I just thought of Nelly and Ashanti. I'd seen like he got arrested for having paraphernalia on him. And I was like, damn, because I've been watching their relationship real close because, she took somebody back from the past. And I know people are always like super against taking the past back, but they have been broken up for a really, 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 really long time. And I think he wanted that opportunity to get it right. They both probably did to some extent, right? And so for me, I was happy mostly because it was a Scorpio and Libra connection, assuming that Google is right, by the way. I don't really know for sure, but I was like, oh, joy. And then that happened, and I was like, oh, they just got fucked up something. Like, why don't they fucking stay out of people's business? It kind of made me mad, low key. I'm not gonna lie. I was like, I turned on my fucking laptop, like, oh, take their miserable asses on somewhere. But I say all that to say, how ironic, right? That their relationship is going perfectly fine. There's no red flags, like everything is chef's kiss, right? And here we go with the storyline that, he got arrested. And so a lot of people are saying that the pressure from the biological clock ticking got her all excited. He's making her happy, but at what cost for him? Like, was he really ready? Did he push himself too hard? And the stress from that made him, perhaps get into this situation, assuming that it's true. Maybe I'm being biased because I don't want to fucking believe it. Okay. Okay. Don't judge me. I'm just saying. I don't believe it. I'm having a really hard time believing it, and I'm pissed the fuck off. But anyway, I'm just using that as an example of something shocking coming out of the blue that you wouldn't have expected, right? But the themes and theories that you can get out of this is definitely something that you can see coming up in relationships at this time, having trouble with money, not being on the same page about money, one person spending way more and they know that they're not because there's some kind of goal or um, one works more, one doesn't. And so oppositions need to bring something into balance. And so perhaps this is about having conversations about how to resolve whatever problems or issues are coming up, or again, needing to see a counselor or a coach to help with whatever emotional, deeply rooted emotional things that are coming up. I did the weekly astrology for the end of this week, and I think the moon was in Scorpio, and it's leading up to this Aquarius full moon, and it just popped in my head that I don't know about anybody else, and I don't mean to switch the subject, and it just came to my head, so I have to talk about it. I don't know about anybody else, but whenever I've noticed, whenever the moon is in Scorpio, I always get stuff, old shit coming up that I thought that I have healed from, that stopped making me second guess what's going on in my life. Happy or bad, it doesn't really matter. And it's old stuff. It has nothing to do with my present life, or you know what I mean? And so this idea of healing is deep, and it is constant. And maybe it's not the Scorpio moon for everybody else, but just to keep that in mind when you are listening to the weekly astrologies, pay attention to what days you find yourself most frustrated and see if it connects to the same moon sign all the time. And start heavily looking into that sign, good and bad, to see what deeply rooted issues you think you've gotten through and find a way to continuously work through them, especially relational. So if you are dating, you're in a new relationship, it doesn't really matter what level, but the one thing that came up to me the most is like questioning whether or not somebody's really down for you. And loyalty. This is why I came up with this because Leo, we're talking about Leo. Leo's about loyalty, and being loyal to somebody, and especially if you're somebody who's been cheated on or just had a history of like really bad, sucky fucking relationships. And so you might be over it, on the outside, but deep down inside, it's still there. Um, and that's life. That's not saying a good thing or a bad thing, or any kind of judgment or anything like that. It's always going to take you a lifetime to get over that. And so when they come up, it's just an opportunity to challenge yourself on healthy ways to first acknowledge it. Don't get angry, mad, or meet that energy where it's at, like reacting and saying something or hitting below the belt, or, getting into some kind of argument, or allowing it to rule the decisions that you make. Try to see, like, well, um, you know, is it really real? First of all, or is it just my imagination? Or are you just responding to something emotionally, by giving it a responsibility? Right. And so if you're in a relationship or you're dating and you find yourself being annoyed by somebody's behavior because it's giving you spidey senses, it's making you think like, is this person really down for me? Ask them to do something for you. Something that might be a little off-putting, but not too dramatic, but you know, something that they don't really have to do, and see if they do it. And depending on their response is going to show you whether or not you're tripping and you need to chill the fuck out, or that you're right and you need to probably distance yourself from that person, place, or thing. It doesn't have to be an actual relationship to a person. It could be a job, um, anything, right? And so um, that's something that's been helping me throughout this journey and process, because I have little to no patience, y'all. When I tell you I'll be off this motherfucking trip in a bitch minute, okay? I have absolutely no problem with being by myself. So when you're that comfortable with yourself, it's easier to not fight for something. And it doesn't mean that it's always true, because in a relationship, you have to exercise both ideologies. It's great to build up that to the point where you're like super okay with being by yourself. It's great to have a job that you can do without a shadow of a doubt. But there's always going to be another thing to that comes up that pisses you off. And because you're fucking awesome, you can go anywhere to get a job. You can get another date. It's nothing for you, right? And but is that always the right thing to do? Now, there are some things that are overtly obvious, right? I'm talking about the things that you're like, I'm not really sure. And you can ask questions, but does that mean that that person's telling the truth? Ask them to do something for you and see what their response is. And that's going to allow you to know whether you're tripping or you're right. Right? I feel like these are some things that can be coming up where you're going to have to stop in your tracks before you burn bridges, miss opportunities, or make decisions based off your emotions. This is head over heart stuff here, family. Okay. Being practical, grounded, and realistic. Because relationships are going to come with some kind of drama. Leo on the lower expression, we are talking drama, drama queen. and people who are really, really prideful, and so much so to the point where they're not able to admit where they're wrong, when they're wrong, or even have the capability to fix something. That's that fixed, stubborn energy. Is like, bitch, you know who the fuck I am? I'm a motherfucking thief. All right. So, challenge that for you, not for the other person, right? It's healthy practices to do so that when you do actually get into a relationship that's worthwhile, it will have the stand power that perhaps a lot of people might be missing right now. There could be a lot of loneliness, sadness, feeling bad. That can lead to desperation if you're not careful, and it'll lead you to accept the past and settle because um, you feel like, what's the point, right? And you just have to find the happy middle within that, like um, ask it to do something for you, okay? And then Moon and Aquarius can be really detached. Um, Things are not going to go as planned, just period. Things are happening. Um, Things that are happening can make us change our mind and just go with it, or make the best of it, or this could be about oscillating back and forth between a decision like, yeah, I'm gonna go. No, I changed my mind. No, I don't want it. I don't want to do, this gives me like those really, really big decisions that can scare the crap out of people. Not necessarily because they don't know if they're ready, but seriously, like think about it, especially if you're somebody who's done the work and you're used to being alone and you start talking about making a decision to get married. We're talking about forever, forever, forever. Like, are you sure you want to do that? And so when it gets to like the this could definitely be like runaway bride shit, or getting cold feet, um, or just like, oh, I want to do it. I want to do it because I love the out of this shit right here, like this shit right here. Like I'm ready to take that plunge, but at the same time, do I want to do it? Do I want to do it? Do I want to do it? Do I want to give up all my freedom? Oh, oh, this shit's gonna be funny as fuck, y'all. Good way. I think it is going to drive a lot of us fucking crazy. And some of this stuff can be very violent and not as happy-go-lucky, but people could be losing their jobs, getting laid off, which could obviously cause relational problems. Um, but I think again, to just try to keep in mind this is not happening to you, it's happening for you. This could also be major, major, major weather stuff with those mutable squares. And I'm not just talking about bad weather. I mean like earthquakes and stuff like that, structures of buildings falling, things of that nature. So be mindful for that. And then this is at 27 degrees, which is a Gemini degree. And Gemini rules things that come in pairs. Also having to make a decision. This is the fork in the road. Remember, there is no such thing as a fork in the road. If you are having a fork in the road moment, there's something deeper that's going on that you need to challenge yourself with, like thinking about it differently. Forks in the road are genuinely a time to sit your motherfucking ass down and sit down and relax. Spend more time with your family. Put your feet up, watch a movie, read a book. Um, you know, uh, Relax. Just chill the fuck out. Okay. This could also be like learning a trade or some kind of skill. This is also having to do with siblings, aunts, uncles, nieces, nephews, cousins, childhood education. So I've been talking about the idea of getting kids ready to go back to school, which is also going to be a fucking pain in the ass. I don't know about anybody else, but I feel like me and the tablet have problems because my son don't want to let it go. And I'm like, I don't give a fuck about what the fuck you want to do. Did you hear what I just said, nigga? Like, yeah, so we not seeing eye to eye right now. Because I'm like, you gonna do this fucking math today, okay? But so there could be a lot of stuff going on with that. Um, there could also be just a lot of other people from outside of you calling you, responding to, no, calling you, reaching out for help, support, to talk, um, or it's just busy at work. Or you can be busy with like errands and having a lot of running around to do and like little things. Now, if you're somebody who's getting your coaching from me, your weekly coaching videos, and I would have been had y'all prepared for this, like I have been, just saying, just a little float. But if I must say so myself, but I have to say it not to gloat, but preparation is key in situations like this. Now, that does not mean that I'm not going to experience anything, but what I will say because of retrogrades is that I was aware of this energy a while back. And so I've gotten all my phone calls and messages and whatever out. And so retrogrades are a time when, like, I use the idea of the tides, when the tide's coming in and when it's coming out, right? And so it's out right now. So it's harder to grab things if there are things that you have to do. You can almost naturally expect for that not to work out for you. And that's not a good thing or a bad thing. It's time to rest. It's time to sit back and let stuff come to you. And so if you get ahead of it, and you take care of all of this stuff, then all you have to do is sit back and wait for. So you might be receiving responses finally from things that you've already have done. You're just waiting to hear back from folks, which is where you really, really want to try to be. It's not as always that easy. And it doesn't mean that it eliminates you from the stress and lack and delays that are going to come with this time, but it can definitely at least give you some solace to know that, like, okay, and you won't get so frustrated with whatever's coming up. Maybe you still will, but because you're human, right? But essentially, you'll feel a lot better about it. This could also be if you are somebody who deals with deliveries and getting mail, forget about it. I can already see this going absolutely freaking wonkers. Car issues, travel issues, transactional issues, um, even not showing up on time for class, or a teacher's late, or other people in the class are late, those types of little things there, and machines. So issues with your tablets, your devices, your stuff in your house, like light bulbs going out, in and out, shaking in and out, freaking you out. Like, damn, I got a ghost in this mother. Not necessarily Gemini energy, but Gemini connected to Aquarius. Absolutely. So this is going back to that idea too, that somebody might be trying to communicate with you from the other side, not to freak anybody out, but for the people who are into this, you might be waiting for this sign to come in, and so you can receive that now. Um, what else is this? Um, this could be a lot of miscommunication, people not understanding what you're trying to say. I would try to avoid text messages at this time because I feel like text messages in general is shorthand and your brain might not be able to catch up. And you might see something and read it incorrectly and be like, just pick up the fucking phone and call and have a conversation. Do not text and drive. This can definitely be car accidents. They can be small, minor car accidents and or pileups. This could be plane crashes. I'm not trying to scare anybody, but it could be. Aquarius rules aviation and all things pretty much related to flights. And then you have the Jupiter energy from the mutable T squares. in the sign of Gemini. Yeah, so we're likely to have some minor issues. It could even just be a turbulent fucking flight that scares the fuck out of you. It doesn't necessarily have to be a crash, but delays and miscommunications and all those things, or forgetting stuff, right? With the mutable T squares, thinking you have everything and you forget some stuff. Yeah, all that stuff is possible here. And so, um, wait a minute, guys. Yeah. And so Aquarius is a collective. We're definitely going to see because it's squaring Uranus. I think this is going to be more so things to do outside of us that bring this chaos more than anything in the whole entire world because of the evolutionary change. And I've been saying this for a while, but America's time is up. They are this you know their time has come to an end, right? And so, um, in saying that it's time for the people to be um, liberated in some way. And so, a lot of what's going to be forcing folks to change is things that are happening outside of them. This could also be groups of friends, political groups, political parties. This could also just be partying, any kind of humanitarian stuff, the internet. Um, Something unexpected can come up that impacts your Aquarius area of life. But ultimately, again, this is about developing a vision um, that inspires others. Talked about that. And Uranus is very unpredictable, shock, and sudden changes. It's electricity, it's chaos, it's rebellion. And things can explode or overheat. This could definitely be about censorship and with 27 degrees of Gemini, speech, uh, something about your right to, speech. I don't know why I can't think of the name. Anything to do with Chat GPT, AI, social media. But on the flip side to that, it really puts you in a position to build a team or a community. Um, this could be an individual versus a team. It might be a little harder to meet people where they're at to have a reasonable conversation, but again, I feel like this is going to be with people higher up or in some kind of powerful position. So bosses, um, managers, leaders can be questioned heavily at this time, whether they know what the fuck they doing or not. And the small people be like, bitch, I can do that job better than you. Shut the fuck up. Okay. And so this could also be things like the boss taking all the recognition for what the little people do. And you didn't fix that. I did. But the big people are taking all the credit, for people coming together. If something big goes on, things of that nature. Um, and then the moon's going to square Uranus and Taurus. I do think this is going to be a lot more financial for folks than anything in the whole entire world. But again, everybody's going to have this somewhere different in their chart. So it could be playing out differently for people. But Taurus is material goods, your self-worth, value, the money you make, savings, budgeting, food, resources, banking. We can definitely have some more banking issues, banks closing down, or like riots, or people protesting against, not being paid enough for something or something like that. This could be about stability, security. Square creates pressure, you know, and Uranus wants to liberate us through Taurus themes. So rebelling to the status quo, changing your mind the way you think about money, having sudden insights and breakthrough in technology when it comes to money. Again, earthquakes, This could be about finding dirt on someone and throwing it in their face. Be careful with that. Trying to bring you down to size or put you in your place, spreading rumors and gossip. We tend to think if we speak louder, we're being heard, but we're not. Um, Ask questions instead, and I think I've mentioned that before. Give it a responsibility. Ask it to do something for you. And when I say it, I mean whatever the problem is, ask it to do something for you or what it does for you and see how that, whatever, wherever that takes you or leads you to doing something different and continue doing that until it becomes a habit or pattern so that you're not just cutting something off or giving up or throwing the baby out with the bathwater. Just because something's not working for whatever you're doing right now doesn't mean it's not going to work later down the line. And I think that's what I was alluding to when I was talking about my mom and this Mars, Jupiter, Saturn square is like there's something from the past that we have definitely have like a bad we see in a negative, but it's actually a positive, and we need to bring that with the future, like going back to the old way of doing things where, neighbors knew your name and, when your neighbor could beat your child's behind. And I know that's a pretty bad example because a lot of people disagree with that. But let's not say beat, but discipline. Like you would know by the end of the day when your kid was out in the streets doing something they had no business because your neighbor probably seen them and called you and was like, girl, I seen Rashawn out there. You need that. Like going back to it takes a village to raise a child. Needing that extra support, like the community worked together. Like those, there are some things in the past that we don't do anymore because of something that we see, some way that we've seen it or viewed it as we got older as irrelevant, and it's absolutely not true. It's just not true, and we need to go back there and find what that is, and as a collective, we need to work together to start it back up. Like we don't talk to one another anymore. We lack resources and opportunities because we don't do that. This could also be like being tired of being something that you're not, pretending, wearing a mask, a false mask, or not being accepted for who you are, and just like being done with it. Like let your freak flag fly. Whoever you are, let it be. And if people don't like it, fuck them. The people who do like you, they'll find you, they'll make their way to you, and you'll be like besties. And that's all that matters at the end of the day, right? This is about making some kind of correction around things, people, places, and things that um, at one particular point in your life, they probably were pretty relevant, but they may not be at this very moment. And it doesn't mean that you have to throw them away, although it's just going to feel like that. That's just them. I mean, those are just the facts. That's what it's going to feel like, but it's not necessarily what it looks like, which is why you shouldn't make decisions on how you feel. And so just be mindful that change is inevitable. This is going to be one of those times where it's unnecessary evil. And whatever that looks like moving forward does not mean that people don't fuck with you no more. That just means that their life circumstances have changed that don't include you. And you're going to have to find a way to be okay with that without falling into the lower expressions of this. So ultimately, I love this fucking full moon, to be quite frank, even though everybody's going to be like, ah, blah, blah, blah. And it is going to be all that. It definitely is, but I think we need it, to be quite frank. I think we're all a little stuck in our ways, and rightfully so. It was very necessary, right? But it's time to do something a little different. As usual, family, I love and appreciate you. I hope you found this information helpful. Peace.